Hello, welcome back to How About That Crypto. You are watching your home for crypto and Web3 news and updates with your host, Bitcoin Stylist. In today's news and updates, we will give a wrap up of last week and talk about interesting developments that you won't want to miss. Binance CEO CZ has battled with Kevin O'Leary. And if you don't know who that is, I'll let you know, but he's from Shark Tank, a big renowned investor, celebrity guy. So who is lying? And why do so many people defend CZ? Kevin O'Leary's got a bad rap, but what about CZ? And it looks like Binance and other crypto exchanges may be lying or at least being shady when they provided their proof of reserves. What does all this mean? Not to worry, I'll explain it all. But first, like, subscribe, comment, follow me, support it, help support the channel. And it helps to make sure that more and more people see this content, which is really important. So please like and share and subscribe and leave a comment. And I have a feeling that some of you are not going to like what I have to say, so let me know. Don't forget, this is not financial advice. You can use your links below to do your own research. All right, let's jump right in. So let me catch you up on the drama unfolding here. And I don't want to be your source for such drama unless it is relevant to the adoption and future of crypto. Like, does it really matter that the CEO of FTX was living in a house with 10 people and they were all having sex with each other? Maybe, kind of. Next time there's a growing business in crypto, people will scrutinize the people running it and whether they are in over their heads. So young people are going to get more scrutiny, most likely. If you're living in a group home, then maybe even more scrutiny. But does it really make a difference as to whether crypto adoption will be halted or slowed down? Or does it make a difference as to whether a member of Congress will legislate according to that info? Maybe they will, but hopefully the drama of the human opens up all the regulators and legislators' eyes to this collapse being a human issue and not a crypto issue. But what is a crypto issue is that CZ for Binance is out there sowing seeds of doubt. Yes, CZ is. I mean, let me just explain myself here. Okay, I'm not trying to say he's a bad guy. I'm just trying to say that don't just put him up on a pedestal. I see way too many people putting up on a pedestal. All right. So watch this. CZ is the CEO of the world's largest crypto exchange. He first announced to the world that he is dumping FTT token, and this caused a run on the FTX, which what led to its implosion. Now, let me be clear. The FTX collapse would have most likely happened eventually. Actually, like, I have zero doubt that the collapse would have happened eventually. Eventually, this problem could have gotten much bigger, and it could have been more of like a Madoff run, which happened over years. He did it for like a decade or something like that. Unfortunately for all of us, the market went down now. Well, one of my clients who is a CFO told me that businesses do not go under because they don't make money. They go under because they run out of cash on hand. Could Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX, and Alameda kept their shenanigans going? I do believe so. Would we not have had this painful situation happen where there was a run on FTX? Most likely. It would have been awesome if we would have gotten some legislation passed before this happened, but that's not what happened. We should thank CZ for showing us all the shady ways of FTX Alameda and their complicit team members. Whichever team members were complicit, that is. Someone needs to go to jail over at FTX and or Alameda. It looks like Sam Bankman-Fried's already in jail. Now he's saying that he wants to come to the U.S. for extradition because he'd rather not spend another night in a Bahaman prison. You know, at first he was trying to avoid extradition until he had to sleep in a Bahaman prison. But maybe he has no idea what he's in for when he comes back. Maybe some others too, before this thing is over, will end up arrested or in jail. Okay, so now that I've told you, I am happy that SBF has been locked up. I am happy that this Ponzi fraud was exposed before it could get any worse. I am going to also be clear about this. CZ from Binance is no angel. If Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, tweeted that they were dumping all of their Apple stock, which is what CZ from Binance did. He said, we're dumping all of our FTT token. We'll do it slowly over time, but we're going to dump it. You know, what do you think would happen if Jamie Dimon did the same thing and said, JP Morgan's dumping all of Apple stock? We'll do it over the course of the next few months, but we're getting rid of it. Well, the vast majority of the world would think that Jamie Dimon knows something that they don't know. So then the best bet would be to sell. And not only that, speculators on the price of the stock would come in and just crush it. Okay. And this is not even legal. Jamie Dimon would be slapped by the regulators for manipulating stock market. How did CZ from Binance not get called out for manipulating crypto? Yes, I am glad he did it, but that does not mean that we should operate this way. If we rely on humans and not verification of data and facts to make our decisions, then why the hell are we even here in crypto? Yes, you're putting your money on a centralized exchange. Yes, a ton of money people were in. Yes, a ton of celebrities were paid to say that they like FTX. And yes, you were probably duped. And some of you weren't duped. You were just too stupid to dig far enough to do your research. So what exactly is going on here? What's going on here is that you have centralized exchanges and their CEOs going after each other, fighting each other. Some are being shady, others may not be. How do we know? Just because he says so? I don't know. I call BS, and I don't trust any of them. That's why I like crypto. I'm not supposed to need to trust these people. I want verification. Yes, I'm glad he did, but that does not mean we should operate this way. I'm glad CZ did what he did, but we in the crypto industry, I don't like it. If we rely on humans and not verification of data and facts to make our decisions, why are we in crypto? That sounds like the old world system. Basing your beliefs on a benevolent dictator or someone who has the most power. Get real people. Then, before the industry asks the central exchanges for proof of reserves, because so CZ announced he's dropping the FTX token. A ton of people came in to pull their money out and short the FTT token. It caused us to realize that Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX had been swimming naked, and through his series of interviews, he left little breadcrumbs, dropping little pieces of information along the way to show the world that what he was doing was definitely some form of fraud. But then the industry was like, well, wait a minute, is it just FTX? So the industry asks all the centralized exchanges, or we call them SEX, CEX, asks all the sexes for proof of reserve. CZ was sowing the seeds of doubt in other sexes. I remember there was, I think, Kraken, crypto.com. He was tweeting about others and saying like, oh, maybe they don't have the money and they're in the same boat. Do they, so, nothing has happened to those central exchanges that CZ was calling out. I just don't trust the guy. It's one thing to call out FTT and FTX and discover that something's going a little fishy there and you don't want to be any part of it. To go out and announce it and then watch that collapse and then start saying that everybody should be scared of all these other centralized exchanges, then you just sound like an opportunist trying to get people to come onto your exchange. Don't just love CZ because he called out Sam Bankman-Fried. Like, come on. Like, what is your problem? Jeez. Anyway, it's just super frustrating when all these people are like reeling against everybody in the industry and like praising CZ from Binance when I don't find this guy to be transparent at all. And he's also not a U.S. domiciled company, and I'm not really sure who he answers to. He carries a bunch of licenses, but like I don't really see how that makes any difference, because at the end of the day, as far as we knew, FTX was all above board, and then they weren't. So how do we know that something else isn't going on here? We don't. I do not trust the guy. I do not have to trust the guy, and I am not in crypto to trust some guy. Get my drift? I want verification. Here's some information we should all know about when it comes to CZ and Binance. Let us listen to the man himself, and I'll explain why we should be careful. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. You're going to listen up, and I will let you know what's happening here. All right, so this is my Twitter. Bitcoin Stylist is my Twitter feed. Crypto news and updates via podcast and YouTube. I got a little video here. I'm gonna play a 90-second clip. All right, So I'm gonna make this bigger for my screen. It's a little big.
We want to be transparent. We want to set the golden standard for reliability, solidness in this space.
So do it. Would you be able to handle it if somebody asked you for $2.1 billion back? Would that be okay? Would you be able to still withstand things?
We're financially okay.
Including you have $2.1 billion to give away. If somebody came to claw that back, you'd still be fine?
We'll let the lawyers handle it. We are financially strong. Even after the FTT price dropped over the last year, we still have $500 million worth of it, $580 million.
Okay, so first I'd like to stop and point out the fact that, they're asking him questions and he is kind of not really quite answering them, all right? So I just want to put that out there, all right? Just remember, I don't trust any or like any of these people, okay? Like, I want them to be successful, but that doesn't mean I trust them at all. It's like you got to take precautions to protect yourself. And these people start playing funny games with your money and my money and start doing shitty stuff and shady stuff, then it's bad for all of us, okay? Just remember that. None of them should get the praise. They should all be constantly having to prove themselves to us. That's what I think. All right. I don't know why anybody would think any differently. All right. Keep going.
Worth of it on the day when we transferred from the address we received a year and a half ago. We never touched it. We actually kind of forgot about it.
But thus far, you haven't disclosed your liabilities. And I wonder why that is and whether you will.
Yeah, so we are working with the firms to do the audit of financials, liabilities, etc. But the audits don't reveal every problem. So
no, but an audit from a Big Four auditor would reveal that, CZ. If you could get a Big Four auditor to say that, if you're saying that some of them don't want to work with you, that raises questions too. They don't want to work with you because you don't have the files and the data that would make them feel comfortable signing off and giving that stamp of approval?
Actually, many of them don't even know how to audit crypto exchanges. They don't really when they audit, they're very used to auditing a firm.
Does Coinbase, Coinbase has a Big Four. Coinbase has a Big Four auditor?
Yes, Coinbase has a Big Four auditor. All right, so what you just heard here now, basically CZ is defending himself and saying that he's saying that basically, what is he saying? Sorry, my gosh, there's just like so much here. The biggest, most important thing here is at the end, in my opinion, is where he starts talking about how Big Four auditing firms don't know how to audit a crypto company, which is really interesting. I went to the Benzinga Future of Crypto event, which I have some information to report to you all. It's just been so much happening with this FTX stuff. But what I found is that Coinbase actually is audited by Deloitte, and Deloitte is also the person who sponsored the Benzinga Future and Crypto conference. I just think that he just lied here. Okay, I mean, this sounds like a lie, or he has no confidence in these people, but let's get that in a second. Well, this guy, Faryar Shirzad, sorry if I butchered that, Faryar Shirzad tweeted here right around this same time, right after this, said, do the Big Four accounting firms know how to audit crypto companies? Yes, they do, because Coinbase uses it, and this guy is the chief policy officer for Coinbase. So anyway, that's a lie there. Let's just keep listening.
Actually, I don't look at Coinbase. We don't really look at.
I think so, though.
I don't know the details.
So they understand it well enough.
Deloitte is the auditor for Coinbase.
So they can figure.
They do have some experience. Would you be able to handle it if somebody asked you for $2.1 billion back? Would that be okay? Would you?
So so this $2.1 billion, we're going to get into that in a second too. So the most important thing here, I think, is to pay attention to the fact that he's making statements that are not true. So is he lying, or is he just misinformed? Okay. Now, I think that's really important. I'm just trying to keep it real here and not give in to the group think that so many of us are doing. And I don't want to say you that you're listening to this right now, but just ask yourself, like, am I easily swayed because most people in crypto are saying the same thing? I'm going to tell you right now, by reporting the news in crypto, that crypto news, there are not that many publications that report that stuff. It's really hard to find a diverse group of information. And guess what? A lot of it comes from Twitter. And so, like, at the same at like a certain point, you wonder just how much news is out there. Like, is this like a complete narrative being pushed? So when you get them on the mainstream media, you get to compare the stories. You get to compare the stories between crypto publications reporting the news and people like CNBC and Bloomberg, and then find out what the story is between those two. And right here, and this is, I think, CNBC.
Would you be able to still withstand things?
We want to be transparent. Yeah. We want to set the golden standard for reliability, solidness.
Statements, and they're questioning him, like, what the heck is going on with this guy? So I also want to play this for you too.
So he invested in FTX without looking at.
This is him talking about Kevin O'Leary, and I know a lot of you have.
So
I know a lot of you have been saying Kevin O'Leary should go to jail and stuff like that. I don't know where that's coming from, except for some claims by some YouTubers. So I think that Kevin O'Leary is trying to point out too much what I mentioned, that CZ from Binance led to the collapse of FTX by tweeting about it. And so, like, I don't disagree with that, but I also think Kevin O'Leary sounds completely selfish, and he's just trying to defend Sam Bankman-Fried, which is ridiculous because he shouldn't be. But like, let's get behind this. No, let's not just say, I don't like the fact that Kevin O'Leary is defending Sam Bankman-Fried. I don't like the fact that he's saying he's going to find out what happened to his money, but he doesn't say he cares about anybody else or the users of FTX. So, like, I'm not saying I like Kevin O'Leary. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm not saying he should be trusted. I'm just saying, don't think that if Kevin O'Leary is not to be trusted means that CZ is, because they're calling each other liars. What if they're both liars? I'm just saying. Okay, now listen to this.
He says he didn't know that Binance was a shareholder of FTX. So he invested in FTX without looking at the cap table. But he was very specific in the way he counts for a transaction 2 years ago. So that's kind of contradictory. So I think Calvin's a liar. So I think he's lying about a bunch of stuff. So that's his problem. To us, we want to be transparent. We want to set the golden standard for reliability, solidness in this space.
So do it.
Go do it. Okay, all right. So I'm just gonna try to keep moving forward here, so I don't spend a bunch of time in this. This is just too much for me, because, like, I just see the way groupthink is working, and social media is just like, people are like, oh, I don't like Kevin O'Leary, he must be a criminal. Oh, someone said he's a criminal. Oh, he's defending someone who's a bad guy. Oh, he must be a criminal. And then it's like, and CZ, thank goodness for CZ. It's like, I remember when people were saying Sam Bankman-Fried, thanks so much for Sam Bankman-Fried. He's like bailing out all these companies. People are calling him the Rockefeller or JP Morgan. You know, it's just like, get out of here, people. What is your problem? Here, okay. Okay, so you listen to that clip. And I'll check out Kevin O'Leary's response here.
I suspect you might be right.
So first of all, Kevin O'Leary's like, don't ever call an Irishman a liar, because Irishmen are crazy. But then he doesn't, like, then I don't know. He says some stupid stuff, but this next part is really important to know.
On that front, the only thing I'd say, even if that's the case, even if what he did led to the uncovering of what we now suspect, what's now been alleged in these documents or these complaints from the SEC, and a criminal complaint too. I mean, the criminal complaint doesn't get into that as much as it gets into the idea that this was a fraud underneath it anyway. So
now this woman on CNBC, she's saying that who cares if CZ wanted to take out FTX? Who cares that CZ told the market that the largest exchange in the world is going to dump all of the tokens of the third largest exchange in the world, which caused a run on that bank? Who cares if he was playing market manipulation games that is illegal in our current financial system? Who cares? Well, I guess I agree with that. I guess I agree. Who cares? I'm just trying to point out something here that do not think that CZ is a trustworthy person. Okay, that's all I'm just saying. Like this is my thoughts here. All right. Now she's calling out the appropriate thing is like, who cares? Because we got to expose a lie, which is true, but both people can be wrong. Okay, both people can be wrong. One person doesn't have to be right for calling them out. We don't want people going around doing this kind of stuff. It makes our systems this makes crypto illegitimate. You know, who the heck is going to want to be in this space if that kind of funny business is going? Because what happens if he does it again, but he's lying? Okay, I'm just saying, like, you can't assume that everything that comes out of these people's mouths is true just because one thing that came out of his mouth is true. That's like saying Michael Burry from The Big Short, who predicted the 2008 crash, is right every time he makes an investment. Like, do we have any proof or facts that that's the case? No, we don't. Okay, so anyway, let's keep moving.
So if CZ did bring down the demise of this and let us see what was there, maybe all he did was sweep the tide out, and we saw that SBF was swimming around naked. I mean, that may be the bigger issue here, that if he did do it, maybe it was a favor to everybody if it unveiled a Ponzi scheme that might have still been going on otherwise.
Well, remember, he was trying to buy the business at that time. On Wednesday, the idea was he was going to buy it.
Was he, or was he doing that just to throw more shade at him? I don't know.
Well, we don't know, but obviously if he thought there was fraud, he wouldn't have made an offer to buy it. So nobody knew, including, remember, this guy's a huge shareholder of FTX, or he was, and so he didn't see the fraud either. So at the end of the day, the question becomes clawback. You've been talking about it for the last 2 days.
Okay, so now what's happening is, so there's a lot here. So now what's happening is that Kevin O'Leary is saying, so this woman calls out Kevin O'Leary saying, why do you keep going after CZ? Why do you keep trying to defend Sam Bankman-Fried? Why don't you just accept that CZ exposed a lie? Well, what he doesn't say is, that's cool, he exposed the lie, but like no one's really actually allowed to just like come out in that position that he's in and say they're dumping something. That would be considered market manipulation. No one's actually calling that one out. I feel like I'm one of the only ones saying that. What do you think about that? Anyway, so now he's talking about the clawback. So in bankruptcy proceedings, historically, during Bernie Madoff's when that whole thing went to court, some of the people who received payments for him towards the end had to give the money back, and that money got dispersed amongst everybody based on how much money they lost. It's called a clawback. So this $2.1 billion that Binance got from FTX was buying out Binance because Binance owned 20% of the company. And CZ in our earlier clip said that Kevin O'Leary didn't even know Binance was was one of the investors and one of the equity owners. And he said, why didn't you look at a cap table? But I think what we know now is that a lot of these investment institutions didn't really know much about FTX when they were putting money into them. And I have confirmed information that people at Sequoia did a due diligence round that lasted 30 minutes on Zoom. So, that is from a source that spoke on condition of anonymity. And so, like, think about that. So who actually knew exactly what's going on FTX? Anyway, that's my point. My point is that these people just don't sound like trustworthy people that you can buy into them, because they say things that contradict each other. They say things that contradict themselves. They say things that are not true. So you don't know if just to say, oh, they're human, they made mistakes, it's okay, but I'm going to trust them anyway. Anyway, you get my point here.
Is that 2.1 billion Madoff style clawback? Who knows? But if I get on that credit committee, I'll be one of the guys doing the clawing. So I'm looking forward to that, because I think at the end of the day, every shareholder and account holder has to have an answer to what happened here. I normally would have written this off like the other 8 venture investments, but not this one. I'm staying on this one right to the end. I'm going to teach this course at Harvard one day, and my guess.
All right. So I think that gives us a little bit of something. Now we know that SBF and FTX and Alameda needed to go down without any doubt. and we need an investigation. So far, it looks like there is definite fraud so far. I mean, based on the congressional hearings and the current CEO and his testimony, it sounds like there's a definite some level of fraud, and jail time needs to be awarded accordingly. But that does not mean that we should look at CZ as a savior. Absolutely not. The last person we looked at as a savior was Sam Bankman-Fried, and look what happened. Let's move on to discuss CZ and Binance. Now, remember we talked, remember CZ said and was asked about auditors, and he was saying, oh, they don't actually know how to audit our company. Okay, well, that's the part that I think that everyone should be a little weary about. All right. Here we go. This is an article by Mackenzie Sagalos and Kate Rooney, and it's in CNBC. It goes, Mazars Group suspends all work with crypto clients, including Binance, Crypto.com, citing concerns over public perception of proof of reserves. Accounting firm Mazars Group has suspended all work with its crypto clients, according to its former client and the world's largest crypto exchange, Binance. The decision to cut ties with Binance, KuCoin, and Crypto.com comes just after the global accounting firm released proof of reserves reports for several digital asset exchanges. A spokesperson from Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, told CNBC in a statement that Mazars has indicated they will temporarily pause their work with all crypto companies. Okay, so why the hell would they do that? All right, let's go ahead and read into this a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Mazars Group said in a statement to CNBC that it had paused activities relating to provision of proof of reserves reports for entities in the cryptocurrency sector due to concerns regarding the way these reports are understood by the public. The statement added, Mazars proof of reserves reports are performed in accordance with reporting standards relevant to an agreed upon procedures report. So that agreed upon procedures means that the crypto exchanges tell them how to do the audit. They don't do like a standard audit. Okay. They do not constitute either an assurance or an audit opinion on subject matter. Instead, they report limited findings based on the agreed procedures performed on the subject matter at a historical point in time. Mazars South Africa branch published a 5-page report of reserves for Binance on December 7th, but the report is no longer available on the firm's website as of Friday morning. Unlike standard audits, the proof of reserves for Binance only accounted for Bitcoin. The report did not show liabilities for Binance's lending arm. Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, or CZ, has often said that the company itself has no debt. So, apparently one of these auditors has taken a real big hit because they signed off on FTX's audit. It says let's see where if I can find it. Here we go. There are a few audit firms that audited FTX and they got burned because they gave a stamp of approval, and I do not know how they did the audits, but the audits don't reveal every problem, continued Zhao, noting that many of these firms don't know how to audit crypto changes. I don't agree with that. I think that just sounds like BS. I hear, and it says here, meanwhile, Ernst & Young, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, and KPMG, collectively dubbed the big accounting's Big Four, haven't made moves to drop their crypto clients. Coinbase, for example, is a client of Deloitte. Tether uses more Cayman. The Big Four did not respond for requests for information. Okay, so what do we know here? We know that CZ is not a saint, is not an angel, did do us a favor to take out FTX before it got even worse than it is. However, we don't really know how bad it is yet because we're still waiting for Digital Currency Group and Genesis Trading to announce whether or not there's going to be a bankruptcy and what's going to happen to the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. So that is probably the most scary thing actually that's been going on for cryptos and entire space. We also know that there's a lot of crypto exchanges trying to prove that they have the money because no one believes them. They've had record withdrawals off of their exchanges, and people are putting their money into cold storage. I put vast majority of my money into cold storage because I don't trust any of these exchanges. And I definitely don't trust an exchange that goes around saying that the Big Four accounting firms don't know how to audit them, but then one of them is auditing Coinbase. Coinbase to me is the safest place to put any money if you're going to have any money on there. However, I don't know what to say about them. How can I trust them? Like, the whole point of crypto is to not trust a centralized entity. So that makes no sense to leave everything on there, you know? But anyway, what do you think about the news? Do you think that CZ and Binance are completely solid and the internet is trying to go after them and create FUD around their business? Or are you concerned about Binance as well? Like, does Binance have all the money they have? What's up with these groups? What's up with Mazars, the accounting firm, saying that they're not going to work with crypto people anymore and taking down Binance's audit off of the website? They don't, because these people are being asked. The crypto exchanges are asking these audit firms to audit them the way they want to be audited, and then using that as a stamp of approval to promote that we've been audited. And then the accounting firm is like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to let you put my name out there like that. And so we're just not going to work with crypto people. So let's see what happens. We're going to follow this closely. There's been some new regulation in the space, but I'll get into that another day this week, hopefully. So I want you to know that there's a bunch of other stuff. There's some new regulations coming. Like, there's some not good stuff coming. So, we got to stay positive, but you got to spread this information. People need to know that we need to be more vigilant. We need to stop just like looking at whoever has the most power and doing the most for people in the moment is the person we should trust, because that led us to letting our guard down with Sam Bankman-Fried. And now it seems like people are letting their guard down with Binance. And I don't think that's a good idea. So anyway, let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. I'll see y'all later. Huddle on.